Welcome back to Learning Spanish with Mr. A. Look what we have here. The subjunctive present. Ouch. Well, the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that, well, present. So it's going to relate to a present action, right? But then we have subjunctive. And that's a bit challenging here. Why? Because, when you talk about the subjunctive mode, it's a mode that really indicates, I shouldn't say indicate, I don't like this expression. It expresses, it's an expression of the uncertainty, like I wrote down up here. The subjunctive present expresses the uncertainty. I want you to know that in the subjunctive mode, you have different tenses. You have the present of the subjunctive. You have the past, okay? Because the idea here is that you can bring the uncertainty in the future, in the past, in the present. Doesn't mean that it's gonna happen, you see? So it's something that is not very common in English, although it does exist, In proper English, if you say, if I were you, I would do it differently. Okay, if I were, you didn't say if I was, you say if I were. So you see, it's like using the plural form of to be, all right, with a singular subject, right? Well, the subjunctive in Spanish relates to the same idea. It's like you're gonna have to switch some of those endings that you're used to have in the present tense. But bear in mind, this is not the indicative mode, this is the subjunctive mode. You follow me with this? Now, I know that you're not used to talk about this kind of concept in high school, but if you really want to master a foreign language, you have to be able to understand what is what, all right? So here what I tried to do, I wrote down a short explanation because I like it short and sweet. I try to make it that way so that you can remember what's going on. A little explanation here that really shows to you, it displays what the tense stands for here when we talk about the subjunctive present. So the subjunctive present expresses the uncertainty. That's a given. Suggestion of the action. It is a suggestion of an action in the present. That's right, because that could be applied in the past as well. Like if I said to you, it was important that you studied for your test, but you never did, right? That's the idea, you see. So we're gonna get back to that in a little bit, I will have more advanced videos down the road, but for now, we're in the subjunctive present. So, the subjunctive present emphasizes hopes, wishes, advices, doubts, you see? Yes, the doubt. So, it can be introduced to you by key expressions. Some key expressions, like keys, well, I don't have my keys here, but you get the point, Nayade, a key, all right? And those expressions are such as expressions like this. It's important that, it's good that, it's possible that. Wishful thinking, whenever I say it's important that you study, that doesn't mean you will study, Very good. If I say, well, Mr. A, it's important that you go to bed early tonight because you have to get up early to go to work tomorrow. Well, I may just get carried away with a translation here and there. You see what I'm saying? So there's always that, uncertainty here that really expresses the idea that we're talking about here, which is the suggestion of the action. All right, so when dealing with the subjunctive present, there is a golden rule that I want you to apply every single time. Okay. The rule says you must go to the your form first singular, okay, of the simple present tense. Well, I wish you could go back to the videos that I have about the present tense in regards to the AL verbs, EL verbs, and IL verbs so that you can understand where I'm going here with this thing. See, when I'm in class with my students, I have multiple boards and I have those tenses displayed and we can look at them back and forth, you see. Here, well, you're not in class, you're online. So go to those videos and find out what I mean by the AR, ER, and IL verbs in the simple present tense. So, if you go back to them, you will see that in the yo form, in the first singular, whether you have an AR, ER, or IR endings, okay, as far as the infinitives, whether you have an AR, ER, or RR infinitives, in the yo form, in the first singular, you're always going to have an O ending, right? And that's very important that you understand and remember that, because now, okay, once you go back to the yo form of the present tense, you're going to replace the O ending, right? And you're going to replace it with the appropriate endings from the subjunctive present. So here we go. What are they? With the AL verbs, this is what they are. Repeat after me. A. You can do better than that. Come on. A. S. A. Amos. Ace. N. EL verbs and IL verbs are going to share the exact same endings. Repeat after me. A. As. A. Amos. Ice. An. Alright, so here I wrote down an example, okay, using the verb estudiar. Okay, so estudiar, estudiar is a regular AL verb, right? Okay, what you got here is an AL verb. So what have I done here? I went to the yo form of the present tense of estudiar. So in the simple present tense, how does it work? Drop the AR, replace it with the ending that matches the infinitive. The AL verbs in the simple present tense, in the first singular, you're going to have an O ending, all right? So, get rid of the AR, replace it with the O, and you end up with estudio, bingo. So that is your yo form first singular of the verb estudiar, to study, in the simple present tense in Spanish, right? Now, the rule here says, go to the yo form of the present tense. This is it, right? Let me make sure that I don't underline the I, because the I is part of the stem, okay? That's the O that I'm looking at here, and I'm going to replace him. I'm going to replace him with the matching ending in the subjunctive present. Being an AL verb, I'm going down to the ES ending, you see? And what I end up having here is, in the second singular, S to D, S, you see? So here, when you look at the example that I gave you here, when I say it's important that you study for a quiz, it is important that you study for a quiz, I use the verb estudiar. Applying the rule, I went to the yo form of the present tense, which is estudio. Then I drop the O, right? And I replace it with the ES. Why? Because when you look at the sentence, you is the subject you're looking for, right? In the second part of the sentence. It is important, all right, that you study. Es importante que tú estudies para tu prueba. Okay, this is more like Spanish 2 in high school, okay? So it's a little bit more advanced, but I want you to understand that to get to the subjunctive present very well, you have to have mastered the simple present tense. So if this is the first time you watch one of my videos, that may be a problem for you. You need to go back and learn about the simple present tense, and especially what happens to the AR, ER, and IL verbs in the simple present tense, all right? Because each and every one of those infinitive has a very special, one of a kind, I would say. Each one of them has got their own, their own set of endings, you see. All right, so yeah, crucial that you see that for yourself. But the good news is that in the simple present tense, in the yo form, whether you have an AL verb, EL verb, or IL verb, you always end up with the O. That's the deal, okay? And never, never, never forget now that what I want you to do, when I say go back to the yo form of the present tense and replace the O, drop the O, you gotta keep that stem. You must keep that stem, right? The stem that you got here, estudiar, you drop the AR and you end up with the S to D. That stem is the one you're gonna be using all the way through as you conjugate your verb in the subjunctive present. Yeah? If I wanted to say, well, I want to say to you, it's possible, right, that she does her homework tonight. Es posible que ella haga, H-A-G-A, from hacer, su tarea esta tarde. Haga, H-A-G-A, why? Because I use the verb hacer to make to do, which in the simple present tense in the yo form ends with G-O, ago. So I dropped the O and I kept the stem, which is irregular, H-A-G. And I kept that stem all the way through. And once I reached the third singular, guess what? Surprise, surprise, surprise. I applied my third ending of a ER verb, which is A. Get it? Okay, well, don't you worry. You can always, watch this video again, all right? And of course, you have to go back to where it starts, okay? You have to make sure that you understand the simple present tense, all right? Now, I want to thank you for watching this instructional video, and I can't wait to see you with the next one. I'm going to carry on through with the subjunctive present, okay? In the next video, I will more than likely introduce you to, I would say, more advanced material in dealing with this tense, okay? Thank you. All right, hasta luego.